Hi, we are doing problem number 4 for Math 2311 Engineering from Exam 1, Spring 2011. So number 4 asks us to evaluate the limits below. They give us two limits. So our first limit is P is equal to the limit as x approaches 8 from the right of x divided by 2 minus the cube root of x. Okay, and so we're not going to actually solve these like algebraically or anything like that. We're just going to look at them and kind of figure out what's happening. So if x is approaching 8 from the right, so it's some number that's just slightly larger than 8, so like 8.0001 or something like that. And so we know that the cube root of 8 is 2. So in our denominator we would have 0, but it's just 8 from the right. We're not actually approaching 8, it's just all of the numbers that are getting closer and closer to 8 coming from the positive side. Okay, and so if we have some slightly larger number than 8, then if we take the cube root of it, because we know the cube root of 8 is 2, so then if we take the cube root of some number that's slightly larger than 8, then the cube root is going to be slightly larger than 2. So that means that we're going to have 2 minus like 2.0001 or something like that. So it's going to be some number that's larger than 2, but just barely. But either way, we're going to end up with a negative on the bottom, right? Because it's going to be 2 minus 2 point something. Okay, so we're going to have some really small negative number on the bottom, and then we'll have some number like 8 on the top. And so if we have some number that's so small that it's approaching 0, and it's negative, then this is going to go to negative infinity. Okay, because we just have some constant on the top divided by some really small negative number. And you know that whenever you're dividing anything by a tiny number that's approaching 0, it's going to go to infinity, but in our case it's going to go to negative infinity because it's a very small negative number approaching 0. Okay, so for P we know it's equal to negative infinity. Now we have to figure out Q. So Q is equal to the limit as x approaches 0 from the right of 2 divided by 1 plus ln of x. And now if you're not familiar with your ln graph, then it's always good to draw it out just so you remember. So the graph of ln looks something like this. And so as you're approaching 0 from the right, so we're coming from the right and we're approaching 0, the ln graph is approaching negative infinity, right? So that means we have 2 divided by 1 plus pretty much negative infinity, right? And so that 1 doesn't change anything. It's not going to, change negative infinity at all. So it's just 2 divided by negative infinity, right? And so anything divided by negative infinity or positive infinity, what is it equal to? It's just going to be equal to 0, right? Because if you divide 2 by some incredibly large number, it's just going to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it's approaching 0. And so we know that P is equal to negative infinity, Q is equal to 0, and so our only answer choice that has both of those is A. And that is it for problem number 4.